that is the equality, economic equality of the people.
From COVID to a situation of financial meltdown, and now little sign of hope.
Whoever does very well at the local level, they then proceed to the provincial, they go to the parliament.
Principle, if you stand even alone. Good evening and welcome. This is Face the Nation. Our topic of discussion today is Road to Elections 2024. We are just a week away before the all-important general elections 2024, which is scheduled to be held on the 14th of November. We've invited 4 guests to our studios this evening as well. Let me quickly introduce them to you. Joining us this evening on the show are Lakmali Hemachandra, representing the National People's Power. She would also be a nationalist MP from the NPP as well. Then we also have Anuradha Wimalaratne from the SJB, Anuradha Yahampath from the Sarvajana Balaya, as well as Keshal Jayasinghe from the New Democratic Front. Joining me this evening to pose questions from our panelists, on to my immediate right is Newsfirst Thambi, Consultant Director at Newsfirst. On to my immediate left is Shihar Anis, Independent Journalist. You two can join in as far as the conversation is concerned. The number to send in your messages via WhatsApp is 076 656 5353. The number once again, 076 656 5353. Let's get the ball rolling today with Lakmali Hemachandra from the NPP. Lakmali, subsequent to the presidential elections, which was held a couple of weeks ago, many thought there would be a hype of activity in Sri Lanka in terms of stopping queues and so on and so forth. But even today, if you go to the passport office, you see long queues. People are lining up for coconuts in Sri Lanka. The situation is becoming somewhat bad to worse right now. Do you agree with this analogy?
Is it though? Because the passport queue, that issue has been resolved now. I don't think the passport queue is there today. And that, of course, was it was not a problem that was created. I mean, let me start off by saying that before the election, there was this almost fear-mongering among other political parties that once NPP comes into power, there will be, the dollar will go to 400 rupees. Sorry, the rupee will go to the rupee price of the dollar will go to 400 rupees, and then there will be economic collapse. We will lose international relations. There will be, violence all around the country. This was the picture that was portrayed about NPP coming into power, or Comrade Anuradha Yahampath winning the presidential election. However, once that happened, we didn't see any of these things happening. We saw a peaceful transfer of power, and the economy did not collapse. And there was no problem with maintaining international relations as well, right? So all these prejudices and the fears that were created initially during the presidential election and before that were basically rebutted during the last month, I would say. And the issues that you're referring to, the passport issue and the coconut issue and so on. So the passport issue was not these are problems that we inherited from the previous governments, right? NPP is a party that has never been in power, and we came into power on September 21st, and then suddenly during 1 month we had to face so many challenges and so many problems and so many issues.
When you
And
say
I think
challenges, what do you mean by challenges?
for example, we had a national security challenge, and then we have, the passport crisis that was happening. And I think these are problems when people face difficulties. As a party that was standing with people, those are sensitive issues to us, and we want to solve them very quickly, which is what we did. We intervened into the issue, and we made sure that passports were available. And then there was a problem in distribution, and by now that also has been resolved. There is no passport queue anymore.
But this morning also, Anuradha, because I was doing the show this evening, I happened to have visited the passport office at 3 o'clock in the morning today, and there were long queues.
Oh, really? I didn't notice that. I didn't see the queues. I didn't pass that area, and
Okay,
there were no
3
reports.
o'clock in the morning, I was there and I saw long queues at the passport office. I did not get down from the car and ask them why they're there.
Right.
But I was pretty sure they were there
So
to get their
anyhow,
passports.
the online registrations are open. So anybody who wants to make an appointment can make an appointment online. I think the queue that you're referring to must be because of the tokens that were given earlier. There might be a slight queue because of that. But I think it will also disappear within the coming days, and then it will go back to normal operations.
Yeah. So Lakmali, now your government is in government. Henceforth, challenges are bound to crop up. Let's talk about the promises that you all made during the presidential polls, like bringing down the fuel prices to less than 200 rupees. That doesn't seem to be happening right now. State sector salary increases is not being...
That was President Ranil Wickremesinghe.
Yeah, President Ranil, but you all spoke about it. You all said that you all will look into it very
We
positively.
didn't promise any salary increase during the, not that we are not going to increase the salary.
Okay.
But we didn't make that.
Right. Then what about the pay tax, which was supposed to be brought at 24%? Nothing of these sorts are being spoken of at the political fora that is organized by your political party at present. You all are only talking about the anti-corruption drive. Why is that?
Because that was the main thing that we promised, anti-corruption. And we have made sure that there is, that our party, that people who are in power representing NPP are not engaging in corrupt practices. That's the priority for us at the moment, right? And all of these other issues that you're referring to, like the fuel formula, the fuel prices, and pay tax, all of these are tied to the IMF program in Sri Lanka, right? And it will take some time to renegotiate and come into terms and, reframe the IMF, because we are working on it right now.
So
as we speak, we are working on it.
So you're still is of the opinion that the IMF agreement would be renegotiated by your party?
We are at the moment trying to because the IMF program that was operated under Mr. Wickremesinghe's administration was very harsh. It had a lot of, the tax burden was completely transferred to normal people, especially salaried workers. And so we are trying to change some of those terms. And we promised that during the presidential election, and currently the government is working on it. So you will see those results once those come into being, right? But it's just been 1 month. We didn't say that we are going to do all of these things in 1 month. I think there's a bit of a rush from the opposition and from certain sectors of this. It's okay. They are holding us to a standard that is really high. That's fine. We are ready to be held up to that standard. It drives us also.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, Lakmali, you and I both know, you're an attorney at law as well, that anti-corruption drive alone is not going to get results in terms of the country's economy.
Yeah.
There needs to be more that needs to be done. Are you all accelerating the pedal in terms of looking at economic development, economic drive at this very moment of time?
Yeah, because one of the problems I think that has happened in our country, especially for the past few years, is that we had done nothing in terms of economic development. There was no state policy in terms of economic development, and the state was basically just letting it flow, the business as usual. That was, there was no plan. There was no plan by the state to drive the economy. So NPP wants to change that. We want to change that, and we want to make sure that there is a coordinated plan between the government and the state administration and everybody who are implementing that plan. And we will be able to accelerate development. Hopefully, it's not an easy task, but that is the main task that is at our hand, and that is what we want to do as well.
Right. One last question. What is your take on dynastical politics, Lakmali?
Dynastical politics. My personal take?
No, what's the party's take?
I mean, we are not in favor of dynastical politics. We don't support whole families grabbing power and capturing power and then transferring power from
So
one.
now you said y'all are in control of the situations that could be controllable within your reach in the last 1 month.
Yes.
Like giving out nominations, was it in your was
I
it
think
in
I
control?
answered this question last time I was at the face of. I think you're going to ask me about Chaturanga and someone will you going to let me just help you. I answered this question when I was at Face the Nation last time as well. I don't think that's dynastical politics because Chaturanga, nobody knows Chaturanga as Nihal Abesinghe's son. And he was not given the nomination because he was Nihal Abesinghe's son. He has done so much work for the party and he has been so popular among young people and he has made his own name and he has done his own work. Their campaigns are not combined. I mean, if you look at the campaigns, they are vastly different campaigns. And Samanmali Gunasinghe, she has been in politics for a really long time. She has been a municipal council member and she has done her own politics. She is not just Wimalaratne Naik's wife. It actually, like, I feel personally pained when somebody says that Samanmali Gunasinghe is Wimalaratne Naik's wife, because that was not a connection that she has established. She has not taken any advantage, no favor because of that connection, right, within the party and outside of the party as well. So it's really unfair to just reduce her to her husband, who has never claimed her as his wife in any of these political discussions or whatever, right? So they have managed to keep it separate and independent, and I think it should go on that way, just because you are married to a politician.
We've seen matters of this sort. If you look at individuals in the caliber of Daya Gamage, he was from the Eastern Province. His wife came from the UNP national list. So we've seen such matters. How
I personally don't know Mr. Daya Gamage or his wife, and I don't know the connection between those two, or whether it was
the husband and wife.
No, what I'm trying to say is I don't know the politics behind the two people. Whether the wife was also politically active, I don't know that, so I don't want to comment on that.
Right.
But if the wife has a political activism of her own and she wants to do politics, I don't think her husband's politics should be a barrier in that.
Right. Thank you very much, Lakmali Hemachandra, representing the NPP. I now move my attention towards Anuradha Wimalaratne from the SJB. Anuradha, is the SJB split?
No, we are not.
Not anymore.
In the sense, we were never split. We are doing very well and we are together. Nothing to worry about.
But that's not what is seen on the ground, because we know that one of your party members' names were tipexed from the Ratnapura district list. Then we saw one of your candidates from the Gampaha district staying out of contesting the elections as well. So there is no split. What is this called?
This thing, Tipex matter, Damitas matter you're talking about. Generally, I believe that, see, actors and sports people, they shouldn't be involved in politics. But that's my personal opinion. But the way that it was handled was wrong. I will definitely admit that. We should have, off the bat, told her that, we are not going to give her nominations. I don't know what really happened in there, but I think the party should really look into that and really take action against whoever who is responsible in tipexing, because that's not the way anybody should be behaving or anybody should be treated. Having said that, about the Gampaha case, I know that's Ajit Mana Perumas. I think the whole country knows what happened. I think the voters of Gampaha district knows what happens, and I think, you know what happened as well. So,
No, I don't know. I'm sorry.
Well, during the presidential election, there was, let's say allegations that he was not contributing 100% and he was working not for the benefit of our candidate. And I think people of Gampaha knew that. And even if he had contested, I don't think he would have ever made it. And he would have been in maybe the bottom 5, if not in the last place. So,
Now, Anuradha, in terms of Colombo district, there are 18 seats up for grabs. In your opinion, how many seats would the SJB be able to secure at the next week election?
well, we are planning for 10. Let's see how it goes.
Taking a look at the last presidential poll, the SJB was beaten on many electorates in the Colombo district, and only Mujibur Rahman's electorate, the SJB was able to gain some momentum in the Colombo district polls at the last presidential elections. So given that fact, do you think 10 is a way too unrealistic number for the SJB to look at, given the fact that the NPP was able to secure a lot of ground in the Colombo district?
No, not at all, because the NPP or AKD or JVP, same thing, didn't really beat us in that election. What actually happened is, if you look at the numbers, out of the 15 electorates in Colombo, we lost 12. And we won Colombo North, we won Colombo Central, and we won Colombo West, and everything else we lost. But the way we lost is not because the NPP actually beat us in any of the electorates. What happened was, well, the Western camp, right? You know, the UMP or former UMP, SJB, we actually split about 51% of the vote among the two of us. And I lost my electorate, Colombo East, after 1994. And the way that happened, if you really look into it, NPP only got, AKD only got 38%. We lost to 38%. But 55% of the vote we shared with, or we split among Mr. Ranil Wickramasinghe and Sajith Premadasa. So this election, all we are trying to do, and I think we will successfully do it all over the country, we will bring that 51%, in my electorate 55%, together into one place. Because
Anuradha,
I think
who is
people
the president
understand
of the country today? Who is the president of the country today?
Anuradha Yahampath,
Yeah,
right?
so definitely he did not get defeated. He emerged victorious in the entire country, and that is why he is the president of the country today. And if you look at it technically, it was Sajith Premadasa who was defeated at the last elections. And if you look at the numbers, from 5.5 million votes at the last presidential elections to come down to 4.2 million, and then Ranil Wickramasinghe, who only garnered 200,000 votes at the last general election, to get 2.2 million votes. The biggest loser at this election is none other than Sajith Premadasa.
Yeah, partly you are correct. I would not argue on that point, but Anuradha Yahampath didn't really win with a majority. He won with 42% of the polled votes, right? So that means there's 58% out there. But I'm not talking about that whole 58%. I'm talking about the same people that actually voted for Sajith Premadasa in the 2019 election. Some of them actually voted for Mr. Wickramasinghe this time. So that's how Anuradha Yahampath was able to win this election. And in this election, it's not about Mr. Anuradha Yahampath or Mr. Sajith Premadasa. This is about individual candidates that's in the list. And we have a very, very strong list. We don't have the nepotism that NPP was against, which now they are saying, oh, it's okay as long as they have been in politics. And if you're going by that argument, most of these politicians' sons, they have been in politics since the day they were born. And, you know, they have been active in their fathers' or mothers' campaigns. They have actually been doing the groundwork. They have been doing the legwork. They have been organizing, they have been representing people, so it's the same thing. They have been politically active as well, because you cannot, you know, the sauce for the goose should be sauce for the gander. So in this election, what we are trying to, I don't even want even one vote that went to NPP or AKD to win this election. All I want is for the people who voted for Ranil Wickramasinghe to understand that Ranil Wickramasinghe knowingly beaten the centre-right camp because he did not want Sajith Premadasa to win.
Thank you very much.
And not only did we lose, the people that voted for him lost as well. And now he has abandoned every one of those people, and he's staying out because he ultimately achieved his goal.
Right. Thank you very much.
Happy.
Thank you very much, Anuradha Wimalaratne, representing the SJB. Anuradha will be contesting the Colombo district from the SJB ticket. I now move my attention towards Anuradha Yahampath from the Sarva Jana Balaya. Anuradha, first to get some clarity on the role that you're playing within the party. We were all aware of you being an individual who supported the candidature of Gotabaya Rajapaksa at the 2019 election. And you were the governor of the Eastern Province, if I stand corrected. Now you are supporting Dilip Jaivira's camp. That's the Sarva Jana Balaya. What happened?
I'm not supporting Dilip Jaivira's camp. I'm part of Dilip Jaivira's camp. I am a founding member of
Invariably, that means you are supporting his cause as well.
I'm with the party. Yes, of course. I supported Gotabaya Rajapaksa during in 2019. Actually, during the good governance period from 2015 to 2019, there were so many things that happened in the country. The constitution that they tried to bring in, which was actually challenging our unitary status, and mainly as they came to power, they went and co-sponsored the Geneva resolution, which we were very much against because it was affecting again the sovereignty of the country. So because of those reasons, we were very much vehemently against that 2015 to 19 government, and wanted a government that would bring the nationalism back into play, as well as this, protecting the country, the sovereignty, the unitary status of our country. So we supported for those principles, and with those same principles, I am with a new party. We formed a party, Mawbima Janata Paksha. Dilip Jaivira, of course, formed the party. I was one of the founding members, and now I am with Sarva Jana Balaya, which carries the same policies.
Anuradha, in your opening statement, you said that sovereignty of the country was challenged between 2015 and 2019, and that it was one of the reasons that you supported the candidature of Gotabaya Rajapaksa. But if you clearly knew the rhetoric that was playing center stage at the 2019 elections was a very nationalistic rhetoric, and if you look at the party that you are representing today also has a very nationalistic rhetoric that is being projected. That's what at least you could see from an individual who's looking at the party from an eagle's eye view. So this is a problem.
I don't call it a problem. When I call it nationalistic, I would say the nationalism that everyone in the country feels. It's the nationalism of all Sri Lankans. That is what we represent. What we believe is every Sri Lankan is part of this culture, part of exactly the same civilization that we have all born into, and our nationalism is based on that.
But I beg to differ on that. Anuradha, because even during Gotabaya Rajapaksa's inaugural speech at Anuradhapura, Ruwanvelisaya, he went on to say that he was elected by the Sinhala majority people, and that he has to give them credit. So is that looking at Sri Lanka as an entire country?
It is his statement. It is his statement.
But you supported his candidature.
I support, by analysing the results, he must have felt it is the Sinhalese people who voted for him. So he must have wanted to make the Sinhalese people feel good. He may have made that statement. But what the nationalism that I am talking about, nationalism that I stand for, nationalism that I practiced in the Eastern Province, is nationalism that where everyone in the country can come together and work together, feel that they exactly the same way I feel pride in my country and my nation. I want the person in the north, the Muslim in the Eastern Province, the Tamil person in the north to feel. Otherwise, I don't think we have a way forward. We have to love the country.
But at that time, Anuradha, if you were not in agreement with Gotabaya Rajapaksa's statement in Ruwanvelisaya, you shouldn't have accepted a post of governor of the Eastern Province, because your sentiments is very different.
I wasn't in agreement. He must have felt, you know, I am a Sinhalese Buddhist. So as a Sinhalese Buddhist, I am part of this nationalism that you know, there is a nationalism in the country. I am part of it as a Sinhalese Buddhist. Another person, a Tamil Hindu, is also in the same nationalistic place. If that person wants to, no, if that person wants to feel.
No,
I'm
not getting what you're trying to say.
What I'm trying to say is, as a Sinhala Buddhist, I don't have to lose my identity to be a national person of Sri Lanka. Exactly the same way a Muslim person or a Tamil person, they don't have to lose their identity or the cultural values that they have in them to be in that.
But don't you think, Anuradha, at the end of the day, we are all Sri Lankans?
That's exactly.
Race, religion does not matter. Caste, color doesn't matter.
What I say is we are all
Sri Lankans. And that's the identity that we should start protecting and not individualistic religions that need to be projected out. Yes,
okay.
You may.
May I? We are all Sri Lankans. We all live together in one beautiful country. But I, as a Sinhala Buddhist, I have a separate culture which I appreciate. I have a temple where I go to worship. I have Ruwan Malisaya where I feel valued when I go there. Exactly the same way, a person who goes to Kochikade church feel exactly the. So you don't have to lose your identity or your cultural values or the things that is in the culture of the values that come with that. To be part of the Sri Lankan nationalism.
Right. Very quickly, Anuradha, just to understand, you all polled 177,000 votes at the last presidential elections. How many seats do you think you all will be able to secure at the upcoming elections on the 14th of November?
That's a difficult question. It's a brand new party. Of course, Dalit has worked for the election, the presidential election as well. We are hoping we are hoping maybe around 10 seats.
10 seats. Thank you very much, Anuradha Yahampath from the Sirasa Jana Balaya. Anuradha is contesting from the Colombo district at the November 14th elections. We also have another contestant contesting from the New Democratic Front under the gas cylinder symbol. We have Keshal Jayasinghe. Keshal, I want to start off with an allegation that was leveled at you by Anuradha Wimalaratne in his opening statement. Let's start off with that itself. He said that Ranil Wickremesinghe is now very happy that he defeated Sajith Premadasa at the last presidential elections, and now he may be happy that everything went in his favor, and he has abandoned the NDF camp, the gas cylinder camp, that was supporting his candidature at the last presidential elections. Do you want to respond to that?
Yes, I would like to first thank TV1 for inviting me today. Regarding Anuradha's allegation, I think the entire SJB has been in La La Land. The reason why I say that is, for the first time in the country, we have a president that only had 3% of the mandate in the 2020 elections. If there was a proper opposition and a proper opposition leader, there is no way Mr. Anuradha Disanayake would be the 9th executive president of the country today. Simple as that.
So, are you saying that if the parties, the SJB and the NDF or the independent party at that time joined hands together, Anuradha Disanayake would not be in the equation?
No, what I was alluding to was when we faced the crisis in 2022. Usual tradition in any democracy, functioning democracy, is for the opposition to take over. But we saw what happened. There were many conditions imposed just so that they couldn't take up the challenge. I mean, if you can recall Professor Harsha De Silva's tweet after they met the central bank governor and the treasury secretary, who are still functioning today under Mr. Disanayake. He said this is I'm just paraphrasing, he said it's a gigantic task that it's going to be really hard to come out of this. I think that was the general sentiment within the SJB. Like, this was too big of a challenge. and they didn't want to take up that challenge.
So, what is the plan of the NDF, Keshal? Because the allegation leveled at the party right now is that after President Anukumar Dissanayake was elected, from one vote that was cast in his favor, approximately 50 to 60 parliamentarians who were in the old guard is now no more contesting at the upcoming elections. And if you look at individuals in the caliber of Namal Rajapaksa, he's not contesting. He's contesting or he's going to be elected through the national list. And if you look at Dinesh Gunawardena from your party, who was a staunch leader in the Colombo district, he's #1 in your national list as well. Individuals in the caliber of Garmin Lukuge, we saw him saying that he's too feeble to contest the elections. If he's so feeble, why is he even putting his name down through the national list? Do we need that old guard in the Sri Lanka?
We are not going to accept the same old political culture, but in the case of our former Premier, Mr. Gunawardena, I think he has given the chance for the youth. Mr. Gamni Lokuke is, I think, contesting from the Podujana Perumuna, so I can't speak for him. But on our camp, most of the seniors have given way to new youthful politicians.
But that's very easy, no? Putting your name down as the #1 in the national list and then getting you all to do the hard work, Kesha?
I think they have done their hard work, no? It's time for us, the young bucks, to put some
Just
work
to
in.
understand, Keshal, just for full disclosure, are you a UNPer or are you from the camp that crossed over from the SLPP to the UNP?
I'm a UNPer through and through.
Okay, so very important question to ask you. Now, Ranil Wickremesinghe is still the UNP leader.
Yes.
And we saw the man in which addressing several youth in Colombo when he was asked about his retirement plans. He said that he wants to retire from politics and that he wants to go overseas and spend some time and enjoy his life. What is he doing being the leader of the UNP?
Well, he is still the most seasoned politician this country has. Let me bring in a sports analogy. We have, when we rank fighters, we have pound for pound rankings, right? Pound for pound, he's the best politician this country has today.
But that is what we said about Mahinda Rajapaksa also.
Mahinda's time, unfortunately, is, I think,
2010
long
election.
past. But within the last 2.5 years, what he did, now I had the opportunity, actually the privilege, to be there from day one when he assumed the office of Prime Minister and up until the very last day till he left the office of the President. I was part of that whole process as a media director. So I knew firsthand the amount of work he put in, including dealing with the IMF, the debt restructuring, you know, the talks with Paris Club and all those ISB bondholders. When all the while the current government was pulling our leg. They were bringing people to the streets every single day. They wanted an increase in salaries. They wanted all sorts of demands. So even amidst those conditions, I think he did a fantastic job. The reason...
Just as, very quickly, Keshal, before I open the floor for questions from our panelists, just as Ranil Wickremesinghe, in your opinion, is the most seasoned politician in Sri Lanka at present, he is one of the seasoned individuals who have lost elections since 1994 many a time. And do you think and believe that such an individual should lead the UNP again, even after the 2024 general elections? Because you said you're young, you all have to be given the opportunity to do the hard work and all that and more. So don't you think that it is high time to give that leadership to someone who's vibrant, young, and who can take the UNP forward?
See, elections are a small part of politics, right? I mean, politics is not about just winning elections per se.
Okay.
So, up until time, like me personally, I don't see anyone who is there yet to take on the mantle of the leadership of the United National Party. But I'm pretty sure, I'm actually confident that he has been grooming a few second-tier leaders, and probably when the time is right, he will definitely hand it over to the next generation.
Kesha, I have to ask you this question.
Yes.
Who are the second-tier leaders that he's grooming?
Well, I mean, you have our deputy leader, right? You have Mr. Ruwan Wijewardena. Then you also have his chief of staff, Sagala Ratnayaka. I mean, there are plenty of names I can throw out.
They're young.
Well, I mean, they're seasoned, they're veterans. You can't expect...
Right, it's very subjective, Kesha. So let's leave it at that, because this conversation will just be going circles. You'll say that they're young, I'll say that they're old, and you'll say that they're seasoned, I'll say that the season doesn't really matter right now. Anyway, so let's leave it at that. Thanks a lot, Kesha. Keshal Jayasinghe is contesting from the Colombo district, from the symbol of the gas cylinder from the NDF. So let me open the floor for questions. Immediate right is Nilesh Thambi. Immediate left is Shihar Anis, independent journalist. Let's start off with Shihar.
Sure. So I'll start with Lakmali. Lakmali, your party seems to be or tipped to win the election, right? They are ahead of all other parties. How concerned are you about the capacity and capability of the party members in coming to the parliament and going for new laws, new acts, and implementing the policies?
How concerned am I?
Yeah.
I'm not concerned at all about that, because I think there has been a discourse that has been developed, especially within the past few weeks.
Because we are going to see like more than 100 new faces in the parliament, right?
Yes.
So it's going to be a shock for them as well in the parliament.
I think NPP is fully aware that these MPs who are coming in, the party leadership is fully aware that they're new MPs and that they need training, they need orientation, they need guidance and advice. That's completely, they are told, those instructions are given to us as well, and we are told that you have to step up. That is definitely told to us. That is the instructions that we are given, right? And apart from that, I think what is most important is whether anybody is willing to learn, whether anybody is willing to adapt, whether you are quick on your feet, and whether you are going to, take up the challenge and move forward. I think what we have seen during the past, especially the past 2.5 years, with the NPP campaign that was run for the presidential election, right? I think what we've seen is we are committed. We are committed to change, we are committed to learn, we are committed to, seek advice. There's nothing that we have to do, right? We are new people. If let's say we get 113 people in the parliament, most of them will be newcomers.
Yeah.
And they have to be advised and taught. Yeah. Of course, there's no doubt about that. But what is most important is...
That's true, Lakmali, but I want to ask this question because you have your party members have promised a lot, during the presidential election.
I don't know where this promise is. No, wait.
Bringing in Arjuna Mahendran within 48 hours, right?
Who said that?
Your party people.
Where?
You in the state, you don't know, right?
No, who said that?
Right?
I don't think we have said
Bringing Uganda money, hidden money from Uganda, right? then arresting all the corrupt people, right? This cancelling Adani project, all these were promised before the election. So people have given you a space until you come to the parliament, and they'll be expecting more from you all, right?
So I think every election there's a batch of new MPs who come to the parliament.
What I want to ask is, like, so the expectation is very high. The expectation was created by you all, and if you don't fulfill, and we will see another Yahapalne government, a failure. So that's why I'm asking. I mean, are they capable of doing that? And some of the promises you can't implement, right? For instance, hidden money, the stashed money, hidden money in a foreign country. You need at least 10 years to bring down, right? And then you need to spend billions of dollars to bring it down. So, these are the hidden facts from the public, right?
No, I think, Shiraz, I think our campaign was that we will bring a change in the political culture. We will change how things are done, right? And we will not allow corruption to run rampant as it has been done in the past. And we will tackle there will be justice and accountability. That was our campaign, right? So it's not a matter of bringing down money within 24 hours or 48 hours or bringing Arjun Mahendran and so on, the bond scam that you're referring to.
Yeah.
There was a huge injustice done to that whole investigation, right? And it has to be reinvestigated, and it has to be done properly. There has to be justice in that case. There has to be some level of, because you can't allow state institutions to function like that. You can't allow that level of corruption to just get away, right? So this has to be investigated. That was the main thing that we want to do.
Yeah.
So if we believe that cannot be changed in Sri Lanka, if we believe that corruption is the norm, that this is business as usual, that NPP can't also do this, right? We don't believe that. We think we have the commitment and we have the capacity to change this, right? And because you refer to the Yahapalna government, I think the problem with the Yahapalna government was, true, there was a lot of hope when in 2015 when people voted in the Yahapalna government, there was a lot of hope that there would be some level of, that corruption will be tackled, that good governance will be brought in, right? But what happened within the first 2 months of that government, even before the parliamentary elections, the bond scam happened, right? So that government itself was not serious about tackling corruption. That government was not, it was just a slogan for them. For NPP, this is not just a slogan, this is a way of life, this is a political commitment we have made. And this is a political practice that we have been having for a really long time.
That's
right?
true. On that part, by any chance, did you all exaggerate things that you will be doing things soon?
No, I don't. This is what I'm saying. Like during the whole campaign, we have been very practical and we have been talking about things that can be done. We have been only saying those things because we believe those can be done, right? And the mandate is for 5 years. It's not just for 1 month and 2 months, right? These are things that we think can be done.
For instance,
and
I
can
think
be started.
Shamir said like you will be reducing the petrol price by 100 rupees, right?
Yeah.
And you are saying like
one
that.
third, I think.
Yeah, one third means like it's 300 to 200.
200.
And then you have been accusing that there is a commission within this petrol prices, right? Fuel prices, right? Somebody is getting commission. And I think day before yesterday there was a press conference by the CPC chairman, and he was asked whether there is a commission. He said, I don't know, I haven't come across yet.
He doesn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, what's really happening?
I mean, do you believe that there's corruption in energy sector is rampant, right?
I'm not
These
saying
deals are rampant.
I'm not saying that there is no corruption.
So
what I'm saying is this is what your party said.
Yeah,
like
so we want
there is a commission and we will reduce the prices. We will eliminate this commission and we will reduce that price.
Why did you all only reduce the petrol prices on the 1st of October by 6 rupees?
Because there are contracts, I mean, I think this was explained. There are contracts with several fuel companies, with several international companies, and those are tied down. There are interim orders against the government. These are legal contracts, and we are legally tied to those contracts.
So didn't you know that before you promising this? Did you know about this?
To be honest, I mean, I don't know whether the severity of the problem was, whether we were fully aware of it, but as a person, I don't think I was aware that the previous energy minister has done these contracts so badly.
Lakmali, just one question for you. One question for you. You spoke about this political change that you're trying to instill in the Sri Lankan political landscape in the country. We've seen many lowly remarks being made by several parliamentarians to women parliamentarians who were in parliament for many a times, and we've seen this happening through many camps also. Then we see a statement that is being made by Lanka on a candidate who's contesting from the Kandy district. Now, is this the political culture that you all are
No, that's
envisaging to
certainly not
achieve?
the political culture. That
Then what
should
is
not
it?
have been made. Oh, let me say that. That should not have been made. That's certainly not the political culture that we want to promote and we want to continue with this country, right? So I
But
think
have you all instilled an investigation or discipline inquiry against member of against Lalkant?
I think what we would do is, I'm not sure whether there's a disciplinary inquiry about this, but I think what we would do is there will be, we will make sure that there is no repetition of these kind of statements, right? And that's a commitment. I mean, personally, I am disappointed that these statements were made. And I think that's not a practice that we should continue.
So-
and there
so-
will be pressure put on everybody not to make those statements
Right.
again.
So then you spoke about 113. Let's say hypothetically, you all get 113 seats at the next election, because looking at the numbers that you all polled at the last presidential elections, you all will comfortably get around 105 seats. So let's stretch it to 113, as Shihar mentioned before. And you said that most of the members who are going to come in from the NPP are going to be new members. We all know there are only a couple of seasoned politicians within the NPP ranks at the moment, and the numbers are less than 10. So if you look at the figures, if you put these figures into perspective, there are 103 members who would be new parliamentarians who would be coming from the NPP camp at the next elections. Is this a test and trying ground for these new parliamentarians to see this? Let's test and try Sri Lanka. If it fails, we fail. Is that?
No, I don't think NPP or previously. Let's take Comrade Anukumar Dissanayake, right? We have never done that ever in the history of Sri Lanka. We have never done this. We have not put the country's interest below our own interest, and we have not done that kind of politics, right? So, but I really want to address one of these topics that you keep bringing up about experience and about newcomers and so on, right? I think there are things that needs to change, and you need people to change those things, right? And they might be newcomers. That's how history is made. History is not made because you allow kings to be autocratic and you allow all these despots to continue with their regimes. History is made because people believe new things are possible, because people take up those challenges and execute those things, right? We believe we are a movement like that, and we have trained our members, we have trained our party candidates to take up that challenge. That is the main challenge that we have. So we are accountable. If there is any mistake in the future, I'm not saying that NPP is not going to make any mistakes. That's not a statement that I can make, right? That will be stupid for me
these
to say
mistakes
that.
happening even at the political fora.
Sorry.
Lakmali, let me just ask you something specific. It's been 44 days only since President AKD took office. So that is a short span of time. However, because of the raised expectations, people do want to see all these changes happening fast, which is not always possible. We understand that. But there are certain things which perhaps need a timeline. So, for example, if you take the bond scam, one of the excuses given for not proceeding with that prosecution as it should have is that Anuradha Mahindran is still in Singapore, where he is a Singaporean citizen. And of course, the Singaporean government's position is that the Attorney General of Sri Lanka has not presented sufficient evidence to convince Singaporean courts that he should be extradited. Now, this is a glaring failure on the part of the Attorney General, and it cannot be tolerated. The Attorney General should at least explain to the government and the people if he can't do it, right? If the department cannot do it, it needs to be explained. Then we know, proceed with the case in absentia. He doesn't have to be here, right? Why are we delaying? Now, what is the deadline that your government, or the government of Sri Lanka today, is going to give the Attorney General's Department to come up with this? Either, present a strong case or say it's not working, we're going ahead, trial in absentia. Because there's nothing wrong with that. You don't, we have had enough examples of people being tried without them being there. It's happening even now in murder cases and so on. And it happens all over the world. Only in Sri Lanka, you get on a plane, you buzz off to Singapore or wherever, and you don't come back, and the case just vanishes. So this is part of anti-corruption. How long would you give the Attorney General?
I don't have that, to be honest.
But how long would your
government
do that? Because if it's going to take 3 years, 4 years,
no. So what I can
you
say,
guys have to be will be answerable for it.
Sure. What I want to say is this: the bond scam is one of the inquiries, one of the investigations that's at the top of our list, right? There are many investigations that should be reopened, that should be redone, and that should be done properly, and that is in the top of our list, right? So that is something that you can expect to be done very fast. But to do all of those things about giving directions to Attorney General and doing all of these things, you need a Minister of Justice. You need some breathing space for the government, right? So for that, I think it's important that we have a functioning, like a proper cabinet with capacity, because we only have 3 members right now, and you can't do all of these things with just 3 members. The priority right now is to keep this stable, make sure that the country is not collapsing, that people are not getting into extra trouble because the cabinet is very small. We understand that this is a risk that people took to put us in power, and it is on our part to make sure that this is a smooth transition for the people, right? So that is the top priority right now. So even though you guys keep questioning about anti-corruption and investigation, that is what we promise, that is what we want to do. We believe this is possible, right? Even on the bond scam, I think it's possible, and we believe it's possible. So we want to do all of these things, and we will do it very soon. But for that, we need power in the cabinet and the government. Without that, I think none of these things are possible, which is why we want somewhat of a strong government. Otherwise, the fate of the Yahapalana government we'll have to face that also, right? When you have a strong opposition, it won't be easy for the government to take forward all of these reforms.
So, Keshal, we have a question for you from one of our viewers. You spoke about getting the country out of bankruptcy in your opening remarks. The question is, you all ruined the workers' savings. You all brought in substandard medicine, which led to many complications within the health sector in the country. Is this the way to come out of bankruptcy?
No, I think in the case of bringing in substandard medicine, the government took action.
The government didn't take action, the court took action.
Yes, but there was a case filed and
that was the government.
The government actually blocked the investigation.
President came and said,
it took a lot of...
No, President didn't say anything.
Yes,
he just let the parliament.
People,
What happened there was
the president
the government
did not fire the minister.
Has collective responsibility. Now, first of all, I must say that I do not condone what the minister did. If he has done something wrong and the court process should take place, he should face the maximum penalty for what he's done if he is proven guilty. There is absolutely no doubt, because this is medicine. These are lives we are talking about. So I'm not going to defend anyone who would be proven guilty in a court of law, right? But he's out on bail right now. So it's up to the courts to decide. So it's still ongoing, so I'm not going to speak on that.
Yeah, but the issue, Keshal, is not the minister.
Yeah.
It is the conduct of the president and the rest of the cabinet where there was a cover-up.
I think that was
very clearly, because the
cabinet responsibility.
The CID blocked the investigation, went so far as to arrest people who were protesting that their own relatives had died.
CID didn't arrest?
Yes, they did. They were produced before the magistrate, and the magistrate ordered the CID to continue with the proper investigation, and that is how the minister was finally arrested. So, in that respect, the president at the time and the entire cabinet were culpable of a cover-up.
I wouldn't call it a cover-up. There was a no confidence motion brought in by the SJB.
That is a parliamentary matter.
So
but this is a criminal matter.
Criminal proceedings are taking place.
Yes, but
there is no evidence
itself
to suggest that the president intervened to protect the minister in question.
By not firing the minister
in question.
That is definitely the president intervening to protect the minister.
The no confidence motion was taking place, so
but
I think
surely,
as a government,
surely a cabinet minister in charge of health needs to be held to a higher standard.
In that sense, I agree. Like what I said
so
before.
The president should
but
hold
the president didn't cover up. What you're
standard.
making is a grave allegation stating that President Wickremesinghe.
What Dinesh is trying to say is, Keshal, when the president knew that something was going wrong, he should have fired the Minister of Health immediately and taken corrective action at that very moment of time. He didn't do that.
No, but he was waiting till, I think...
Until the cows fly over the moon.
No, not until the cows fly over the moon.
At least he should have suspended.
He had done that before. I mean, during Yahapalne, he had fired 2 ministers. It's not like the president hadn't taken action.
No, that is during the Yahapalne.
Yeah, but he was...
Now
I mean,
he was under the gasp of the SLPP members of parliament.
Exactly. During the Yahapalane, he didn't have to cover his position. Right? This time he was worried more about his position than doing what's the right thing.
I mean, like I said before, if the minister in question has done something wrong, he should be definitely held accountable. There is absolutely no doubt about it.
So
who is the head of the cabinet and who appoints these ministers?
President.
Can I ask you something else? Now, you said you're a UN peer.
Yes.
And of course, then President Ranil Wickremesinghe is a UN peer through and through. However, for the last presidential election, he contested under a new symbol,
yes.
The gas cylinder. And then he announced that he is not contesting under any symbol this time. However, people like you who followed him to the gas cylinder are now contesting under that. However, the elephant symbol, which is the more well-known established symbol, is now being used in the central province by another party. Don't you feel this is a little out of sync here?
Well,
don't you wish that you were back
I
with
wish.
the elephant symbol?
We actually, I think most of them, there was a huge discussion behind the scenes. A lot of UN peers wanted to contest under the elephant because that has been the symbol that is recognized by the public. But for this election, I mean, this is a continuation of the presidential election. We had many coalition parties. There's the SLFP involved, there's the SLPP involved, and some other minor parties as well. So we wanted to find a middle ground, and the best common symbol that we can use was the gas cylinder because people were used to it after the presidential elections. But going forward, I'm confident that the UNP will contest any upcoming election after this general election under the elephant symbol.
Keshal, you are contesting in Colombo district, right?
Yes.
Keshal, is it true that Wickremesinghe has told the candidates that, bring in at least 20 members into the parliament, then I will form a government within next 1 year? Is that true?
No, I'm not privy to any such information.
Right. So, Anuradha, just to understand, recently we saw Udega Mampila. He is very much an active member in your party?
He is, yes.
Right, okay. Talking about the Easter Sunday bombings and making some startling revelations, what is your position on these statements that was made by...
He has received the reports from the post, and then he decided to come out and he actually informed that he had this information, and he informed the president to reveal the decisions or the report content. And
So I just want to understand, Anuradha. Now, Uday Karmapilla said that he received this by post.
That's what he said. I saw it in the media, of course.
So you and I had the same information.
Yes.
So I'm trying to figure out, correct me if I'm wrong. So when someone sends some document by post, can you verify that information? Because now let's say you get something by post. Would you come to the media the very next day and starting revealing the contents of what you got by post? Is that responsible politics?
He said, because he is a lawyer, he said in his media interview that he is a lawyer and he has verified that these documents were the correct documents that were prepared for the past government, and that he thought it was his duty to
so Dilip Jayavira goes on to say, your leader of the party, Sarvajana Balaya, goes on to say that Andrikumar Disanayaka is one of the most corrupt politicians in the country. So I'm trying to figure out now, why does he say a statement like that?
I think he makes that statement mainly because Anuradha Disanayaka has his office or whatever, and Dilip Jayavira says he doesn't pay his taxes for whatever the benefits he has or whatever the for his office or the vehicles or whatever he uses. He's not a taxpayee. So that is the reason why, and what Anuradha Disanayaka, president, says, everything he has received or he has is a gift from someone. So
Lakmali, I just want to switch to you very quickly. Now, is it true that he's been gifted by all this?
He's never said that. I think he's not a taxpayer. If he's not a taxpayer, he's not a taxpayer because he doesn't make the income to be a taxpayer. And the way that NPP and previously, I mean, with the way that JVP, which he's part of, runs, everything is funded by the party. It's a common collective effort that keeps the party together and maintains the members and all of that. And individual people don't make a lot of money. It's not like they're salaried or they're paid money. So I think that is the reason why he's not a taxpayer, and he doesn't have his own private vehicle. He uses a common vehicle that everybody uses. And so, I mean, I think he's assigned a vehicle now because he's the president of the country, and he might have been assigned a vehicle when he was an MP. But even those vehicles, those are not, he doesn't use it as a private vehicle that he has. So that's the reason that he's not a taxpayer. And I don't think that
he did, all the benefits he has received, has always been from someone else.
What benefits? I mean, he doesn't have any private property. He doesn't have anything, like he doesn't have private businesses. He's completely like, I understand him to be somebody who's fully committed to politics, and that's all. So I don't know why Jayavira has made that statement.
Are you satisfied with that answer?
Yeah. What they say is there is a common fund, and from that common fund they uses
it's a party.
It's the party fund. So for him to travel all over the world, all that is being used from that common fund.
We have given our election expenditure. We have not concealed any of these expenditure. It's completely, we have been very transparent about the election expenditure, right? And I don't know, I mean, there's no reason for the Jayavira out of all the people to make that statement.
Have you guys submitted where you got this money from?
Yes, of course.
I don't think
all
so.
of those, not tickets, but definitely.
No,
that
not
was
the
the
tickets.
SJB
I don't
explanation.
think, you have disclosed
no,
all the big donations.
We have.
And
we have submitted
this is the thing.
1,600
business,
pages.
Right? You know how
no, let me answer this allegation. I want to answer this allegation.
So Anuradha, you ask the question. Now you can ask the question, Anuradha, and you have let Lakmali answer.
I think we have revealed all our income sources.
I think Shamira, to be fair by Lakmali, without looking at the election commission's statement on the campaign financing, we can't talk.
Yeah, we have revealed all our sources, and we have
given.
submitted like thorough reporting, and we have not said that we've received billions of money.
No, it's a summary report.
It's SJB
It's a summary report. It's not a thorough report.
So Anuradha, just to understand, now for your party, your serious competitor is the NPP?
Well, we are competing against the NPP, yes, but I'm not really going after their votes because I don't believe we even need one of those 42% to win. What we need is for the UMP to understand what really happened to them. And
so you are competing with the UMP, right?
No, Keshal was saying,
is that? How likely is that? I mean,
I think it's very likely because most of the UMPs went after that Ranil brand, right? And that Ranil brand is no longer there.
He's still very much
and
there.
right now,
He's leading
no, he said he's retiring, and even you yourself said that he's ready to give it up, and he has not trained someone who is still able to.
No, he has trained a few, and when
power.
The time comes, he will definitely hand over the party leadership. Sajid was never a good leader.
When Shamil asked, what is he doing, and you said, Mr. Vikramasinghe, and you paused, I thought you were going to say he's alive, and that's why he has left
if Sajid was a true leader, but he should have taken over the mantle of leadership, of leading this country out of the crisis we were faced in as the opposition.
Actually, very good point. I actually wanted you to come there. Do you really know what happened? What happened was Gotabaya Rajapaksa at that point called Sajid and said, here, now we are in trouble. Okay, you can, I will make you the Prime Minister, give you 5 cabinet portfolios. I will be the head of the cabinet. My party will hold 15 cabinet portfolios. Please get us, please save me, right? Sajid Premadasa said no. He said, I'm not going to abide by that. And if I am going to be the Prime Minister, I need to be able to appoint the cabinet, and you need to give us an assurance that you will leave in 6 months. And then there was this man who had nothing to lose, only one seat in Parliament, who has always been trying to jump into that seat, never got an opportunity from the people of this country because they would never elect him as a president. He jumped up and said, here, no conditions, I'll take it.
He said no conditions simply because of the situation,
he was not in a position
under which
to make any conditions.
Was.
How can he make any conditions?
The country was in dire straits.
He was
struggling.
I have another question for you, Keshal, because you're talking about the country being in a dire state. Yeah. What about the visa scam?
The VFS
scam.
I think now the new government can take the matter up.
But
if there was a scam,
they're definitely going to do it.
If there was a scam.
If there was a scam.
No, I mean, you guys can prosecute
so
now.
You're claiming that there was no scam.
No, we have to let the courts decide that.
Of course.
We can't comment on that. If there was a scam, like what I'm saying, we are trying to bring in a new political culture. Okay? We are not going to stand for what is wrong. I think that should end. That was the clear signal given by Aragale, especially by the youth of this country that we try to represent. So if there has been any wrongdoing, anybody who is involved should be prosecuted in the court of law.
Anuradha, during the parliament election, there was a time where actually your leader Sajid was leading the presidential election. During the presidential election, Sajid was leading, and he was almost there, right? What happened to him? What really, changed the situation?
I don't know if we were really leading. I think we did make a lot of mistakes, and I admit what you said was right. Yeah, we did drop the ball quite a few times.
I was referring to some of the opinion polls. Sajid was leading, and then JVP, Andhra was leading, and there was a time where Sajid was clearly leading in those opinion polls, right? And then suddenly things changed. Where did things go wrong?
I don't really know the validity of these opinion polls.
Sajid was never leading.
The thing is, we were actually going against the wrong people. Our votes were being harvested actually by Ranil Vikramasinghe, but we were going after the NPP. Because in that election,
Anuradha, do you indirectly say Ranil is the winner in this whole game?
No. I mean, I would not say that before he opposes that.
Actually,
No.
you know, yeah, I think
Because Ranil wanted to basically defeat Sajid, which means he wanted
yeah,
to...
Ranil won.
No, that's what he says, right?
Ranil won. Why do you think he's not contesting?
Yes,
And
Ranil won.
Now
He
he's
got
you know
the
doing what he
country out of
always
this
does,
crisis. There
watching
is
Netflix and
stability
going
now.
to sleep, right? And he actually even Mr. Anuradha Disanayaka is not a clear winner because everything he said in that election in his election campaign, he never expected to win. Now you know he
I
gave
do
so
not-
many
I do not
promises
agree with this.
and he lied so much
No.
because he thought he was
Please,
never going
I
to
think
win.
you should go back to the original intention of taking the votes from the UNP than attacking AKD as much as you can. Anyway,
There is only very little things you know. You don't know about the promises that were made, right? And you don't
Anurad, we
know.
have to respect each other because this is a platform. We should not sling mud at anyone. I think Lakmali is entitled for her own opinion. You are entitled for your own opinion. Anuradha is entitled for her own opinion as well as Keshal.
Mr.
Right. No, but I just want to understand.
we won. We don't. I mean, I do not want to come up here and say it again and again because as we
So
speak,
to understand, Anuradha, now
president of
we've
the country.
seen these, the president being from a different political party and the prime minister being from different political party. We saw that in 2001 when Chandrika Bandaranaike Kumaratunga was the president and Ranil Wickremesinghe was the prime minister. That equation didn't work. We saw how Chandrika Bandaranaike Kumaratunga, using her executive powers, took over several ministries, and as a result of that, the government collapsed. Then we saw in 2015 the Yahapalne government. It was a very, very bad mix. Maithripala Sirisena as the head of state from the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, Ranil Wickremesinghe as the prime minister. Look at where the country ended. There was a 52-day government in 2018. Maithripala Sirisena went and appointed Mahinda Rajapaksa, who he said he's going to be below 7 feet under the ground if Mahinda Rajapaksa won the elections. He went and appointed him as the prime minister. Then the 2019 debacle with regard to the Easter Sunday bombings on the 21st of April. So these mixes have never worked. Only the mix that has worked in Sri Lanka is the president coming from one political party and the prime minister coming from one political party.
The same.
And it's the same political party. So if you look at that equation, why do you think the mix between Anuradha Disanayaka and Sajid Premadasa hypothetically as the prime minister is going to work? You're already criticizing Lakmali on this platform.
Irrational.
How do you think you all are going to be in a government together?
First of all, I was not criticizing. I was saying poor Anuradha Disanayaka. You know, he gave promises that he can't deliver. But and you know, like,
don't want to speak. You lost the election. Please.
No. We didn't lose the
There's
election.
no
The
poor
people of this country lost the
He had
election.
3% in the
Last
previous
30
election.
days
He
has
is the
proven
president of the
people
country
of
right
this
now.
country
I do
lost.
not tolerate
Right?
this condescending attitude you have towards the president of the country right now.
Anuradha,
Everybody in this country.
Anuradha, what I don't understand is, this is the four of you, and you are fighting with
Exactly. Still the president's
Lakmali
party.
From the president's party, and how are you going to be in government with Anuradha Disanayaka in power and you all being in the prime minister's post? You all will be fighting every day. It will be a cat fight.
Wait. Let me explain.
How are you going to do it? Tell me, will you?
Well, let me explain, Shami.
Yes,
now,
please.
the president's key promises, ending of corruption, right? And then he was saying he was going to bring all the crooks to task. He said about this stolen money recovery program. He was talking about that, and the other thing is he was saying that he's going to make a livable country where the economy is good, right? Good. So, who do you think, if he really meant it, who do you think has the team that can actually deliver it? Only the SJB, right? Because now look at
Very subjective.
now look at what the NPP, like the
Each
list that
party
they
would claim
list
they would.
they are going to bring in, right? Lakmali, like I'm just saying this, right?
No, my question was, Anuradha, my question was not that. My question was, you were already fighting with Lakmali here, right?
Yeah.
How are you going to be in government with Anuradha Disanayaka as the head of state and Sajid Premadasa hypothetically as the prime minister? That's my question.
But the thing is, at the end of the day, we share the same goal. And if we really mean it...
now you share the same goal.
No.
What is the same goal?
Didn't
But
we...
all this time it was to Anuradha Disanayaka.
No, didn't we say that we are going to end corruption? Didn't we say that we are going to recover the stolen money? Didn't we say that we are going to improve the economy? And we not only said it, we gave a proper plan, proper laid out plan. So what I'm saying is, to implement all the changes and deliver on the president's promises, it'll be better off to have a team that is capable, instead of bringing in a whole new bunch of new people who says, I am not aware of it, I was not aware of it, we will be trained, we are hopeful we can do it. Because this is not playing house, right?
Nobody's
At the end of the day, this is playing country.
Just because we are humble and we're ready to learn, that doesn't mean we don't have experience.
Who is going to train you?
No, nobody has to train me.
Mr. Hoggalagia or Mr. Lalkant.
Is that how you're going to work with the government?
Are these? No, not yet. They are not
Who's
going
Mr.
to be in the government.
Hoggalagia?
Hopefully, they are not going to be in the government.
What is this? What is this language that you're using? You want to work with the president?
No, Anuradha, the question is very simple, Anuradha. If you can't see eye to eye with a NPP nationalist member on Face the Nation, which is being held just a week prior to the elections, how are you going to be in government with the NPP for the next 5 years?
We are not going
Wouldn't
to
it
be
be
in
one
government.
big cat fight over 5 years?
I mean, we don't want to be in government with them, just to be clear. We want our own government. We don't want
if we are going to have
government in
the
power.
same goals, I think we should be able to work together, because we have the team that can deliver on the president's.
Said that they want
No,
and the thing is, Shamil, has president and the parliament being from the same party, has it really worked for this country? Except during Mr. J.R. Jayawardena's and Mr. Premadas's presidency and prime ministership, has it really worked in Sri Lanka since then?
But at least there were less conflicts.
And the other thing is, every time this two-party system...
I don't think you should say that, because during Mahinda Rajapaksa's first regime, it worked very well.
5 years, he wouldn't have been able to
end the war
he did not without having full support from the parliament as well. So you can't say that. Probably you're the one who's not aware of what is going on.
And then even during Chandrika's, when she had her party in government from 1994 onwards, there were no conflicts really within.
There was
only one seat,
rampant
right?
corruption was
only
there,
one
right?
seat majority.
There was so much corruption, and this everything that NPP was talking about, corruption and bad politicians, they came in that last 30-year period. We had quality gentlemen before that.
No, Anuradha, you mentioned that the goals, the promises of the SJB are the same as the NPP's, to end corruption and so on and so forth. So you have the same goals, the same promises, but your leader lost the election. Is not the president. So clearly there is some issue strategy-wise. Did your party sit down and re-strategize, look back at what happened, what went wrong? Because as you say, the messages are quite similar.
Yeah. Well, yes, we did look into it, and
knowing that this election next week is happening.
Well, yes, we did, and there were a lot of shortcomings in our campaign, right? We have to admit that. We did not manage social media properly, and we did not explain things in a manner that our people would understand. I think we used maybe too many technical terms. We explained things too much.
But was it a problem with the campaign, or was it a more fundamental problem of ideology, perhaps?
Or someone harnessing your votes?
No. The thing is, I think the NPP understood their market way better than we did. They understood that people in this country doesn't care how you do it. They just, they would hang on the promises that you give, and they want instant solutions. And whoever promises instant solutions, no matter how unrealistic they are.
So you mean the NPP are
42% of 42% of the people.
I'll give you an option. I'll give you an option. And just to understand, now you're saying that you all made a lot of mistakes in the process. Now, what I don't understand is, how can you come and say today that you all made mistakes and as such, you all were not elected to power. Doesn't that itself shows the immaturity of the SJB?
Well, we didn't win the presidential. Yes. But the thing is,
You all may even lose at the next parliamentary election.
no, we are not. No, but the thing is, we are hoping the people of this country has learned in the past 30 days what will happen if they elect people into power or into places, if they elect people that are not capable.
I'm not quite sure about that. Anyway,
Anyway, you're not sure about the people. Maybe.
I'm not quite sure
people
whether the
have
people
made a
are-
mistake. Not that your party has needs to
No,
fundamentally change.
we definitely made mistakes.
Yeah.
That
It's not
100%
about the
I'm
people,
sure.
Anuradha. It's the people are ready to give some space, right? I mean, see, we have given time to all those politicians in the past, and why don't for NPP? I mean, that's the mindset they have, right? Anyway, Anuradha, you were governor of one of the key provinces in Sri Lanka, right? Eastern province. What happened? And you were kind of you were removed. You resigned. Or what happened to you?
I was appointed in 2019 and I was there for 3.5 years, appointed by Gotabaya Rajapaksa president, and then all the political changes happened and President Ranil Wickremesinghe took over, and during that time the first thing he announced was that he is going to implement the 13th Amendment fully, and I made a statement saying that he doesn't have the mandate to implement the 13th Amendment fully. By then, by working in the Eastern Province, I had realized giving police powers and land powers to provinces can cause unnecessary issues which can unnecessarily take our country to a further conflict. Therefore, I made a statement saying that, and that was one of the reasons why I
Is that
got
the
into
position of your party even now?
Yes.
On the 30th Amendment of the Constitution?
Yes, we are not talking about a new constitution yet. Maybe later, but 13th Amendment.
So
yes, that is the position
Is it
of the
fair
party.
fair to assume that if you come to power, if your party Sarvajana Balaya comes to power, you will repeal the 13th Amendment? Is it fair to assume?
We will not repeal the 13th Amendment. No, we can't do that because 13th Amendment has been there for so many years. So we don't want to unnecessarily cause any issues in the country, definitely. But if we go for a new constitution, it will be a constitution where there will be a sufficient devolution of power to the people, but to smaller units that we haven't actually, looked into yet. Because
So are you all
this is not
contesting across the country?
Yes, we are contesting across
You all have
the
candidates in
country
the north and east as well?
as well.
So
Right, so you want
From the north, we have Arun Siddharthan, who has been very much a
So,
very-
is this the same sentiment that is going to be expressed by them at political fora in the north and east?
yes.
So you're assuming that they would gain votes by saying that?
We are assuming, definitely.
So there is no land and police
To me,
power, right?
with my own experiences, the 13th Amendment is an issue amongst the politicians only. It is not an issue for the people. It is the people in the Eastern Province, even the provincial councillors or the people from authority, the local authorities, even them, they were not so much into this, getting it fully implemented. They were not demanding or requesting or wanting why police and land powers were not given. It's an issue amongst the politicians, mainly
Right.
politicians.
So, Keshal,
she didn't tell other reasons for the her removal.
removal,
Yes.
yeah.
Some other reasons.
Yeah.
Okay. So there was.
This is one reason that you said that
Yes.
the 30th Amendment.
And then, I had invited, we prepared a lot of report with potential projects for the Eastern Province for investment, and which I actually gave to many delegates who came to the Eastern Province, including the Chinese delegates. And with that, the Chinese ambassador was very keen to bring in a province, bring in investment from a Chinese governor, and actually they suggested to have a sister province between Eastern Province as well as the Yunnan Province in China. And I invited them to come to Sri Lanka, and then there was, I think there, anyway, during this time, so many things were happening. I was not getting the support from the government because it was a different president and a different administration
but
that
even
was
at
there.
That time, even at that time, I'm just trying to understand, Anuradha, you were aware that the Indian government had a lot of interest in the eastern province of the country.
Especially in
Indian government has had a lot of interest in the country and the province and the eastern and the northern provinces for a long time.
But did you understand the geopolitical problems that persist with India being there and you inviting the Chinese?
Inviting Chinese,
Chinese,
or I didn't invite Chinese as per se. I was actually that I gave this project proposal to all the even to the Western, the Netherlands ambassador who visited, the American ambassador as well as even.
No, but that doesn't boil down.
But they were not interested.
Yeah.
They were not
but
interested in bringing in
but
investment.
that doesn't boil down well for a country, isn't it? Because you have the Trincomalee.
It was only China who was interested in bringing investments for not. For projects in Sri Lanka.
Right, but
so
what
they
do you
were
think?
visiting.
What do you think how would the Indians react when you get the Chinese to the eastern province?
I don't think Sri Lanka or the eastern province is part of India. It is.
Yeah, no, of course it's part of Sri Lanka. But I'm asking you geopolitically, how do you think that is going to boil down? Because you know for a fact that when Sri Lanka was bankrupt, India came with a helping hand of $4 billion, whereas China did not do that. We had our debt negotiations going on for a prolonged period of time because Chinese Exim Bank refused to have a negotiated settlement to it. So in a situation like that, Anuradha, do you think you did the right thing in terms of handling that geopolitical situation?
I was only a governor, and I was only inviting all delegates who came to Sri Lanka to visit the eastern province. I was actually I'm not in position to go ahead and make investments or get them to make investments in Sri Lanka. So I was only inviting.
Because of those two reasons, you were removed from the governor post, is it?
Yes, I think so. That is one of the reasons. And then there was this oil tank farm.
What was that?
There was an agreement between the re-signing of the oil tank farms for the Indian
This was the
government.
partnership between the LIOC
as well as Sri Lankan. So when that contract was ending, they wanted to renew the same agreement, and I was actually not willing to sign because this time that they wanted to, it was with 500 acres of land. So in the earlier agreement, there was no land given to the LIOC.
But what happened to that agreement now? Has that been signed?
I think it has been signed by.
It has been signed.
Signed by the new.
Signed by whom?
The new governor.
Right. Okay.
Probably.
So, Keshal, now you said young blood has to flow in, and what is your expectation now? The NPP, Lakmali said, at least 100 plus individuals are going to be new faces. They're going to be young. Most of them would be young people. Isn't that the expectations of the public right now, especially after the Aragale, which demanded for a system change in the country?
So there's plenty of new faces in our own camp throughout all the districts. So a lot of new opportunities have been presented to people like myself. And I think in the upcoming election, we are confident. Like if you take, for example, the Colombo district, going by the results we got for the presidential election, we should be able to secure 3 seats. But going on the ground, we see that the NPP popularity is waning slowly. And
it's fading away.
I mean, there's a slight because of the expectations that they were given. I mean, I would like to clarify from Lakmali, for example, I think in your opening statement you said, you are renegotiating the IMF. Up until now, President Disanayake, in his capacity as the finance minister, has maintained an eerie silence on this IMF.
No, he has not.
Yes, he hasn't made any statement.
No, he has not.
What has he said? It was reported in the media that I think the central bank governor said the IMF talks have been postponed. We are not going to get the next tranche until the budget is out.
Let me clarify that.
No,
Keshal.
can I ask?
Let me clarify that, because budget proposal, I mean full year budget proposal, one of the precondition for the next IMF tranche.
Yeah.
Right. So I think the full year budget will be
in April.
That will be announced somewhere in March, right?
Yeah,
if I'm not wrong. So then, based on that only, the next tranche will
Exactly, and these were all explained. Okay, let me explain.
comments.
These were when the IMF team first came to Sri Lanka after the presidential election. We elaborated on all of these things. President Disanayake met with the IMF team twice, and he discussed with the IMF team, and he actually put out a statement also saying that that it was, we are renegotiating these terms. There are certain things that we want to change, and that these things will be done. IMF was willing, they wanted to do these things after the election. That was the agreement, right?
So Lakmali,
All we saw was selfies, though.
No.
I mean, in the mainstream
What
media.
selfies? No, these were all put out in the media. These were reported in the media. This was reported in the media.
The former president, Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe, made a statement.
The third review of the IMF will be done after the election when the budget is coming.
Right.
Those things will be done. I mean, we are negotiating on the taxes and all the other issues that we promised on. We made promises and we have to deliver on those things.
Mr. Wickremesinghe last night made a statement on a public stage saying that some bank in Bermuda was going to take legal action against Sri Lanka because we were not paying the loans. And then Mr. Wickremesinghe, wait.
Not in Bermuda.
Mr. Wickremesinghe, okay, maybe you might be right, okay.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Wickremesinghe had gone and said, here we are going to stick to this IMF plan. Because of that, they had halted that legal proceedings, right? And then when the NPP government came into power, that bank had gone back to courts and said, these people said they are going to go against the IMF plan. So we are restarting our legal proceedings.
Mr. Wickremesinghe is blatantly lying about these things.
Wait, let me finish, then you can clarify. Then I think this current government had said, no, we are going to stick to this IMF proposal. So that is how that legal proceeding is true or not.
Let's listen to Lakmali and I'll
This
give you an
Habitat Reserve case has been going on, I think since for 2 years this has been going on, right? And every time this is a case that is against the country, the Republic of Sri Lanka, right? That we have defaulted on their debt and we have to pay them back. This is not a new case. This is an old case. This is one of the first cases. It is the only case against Sri Lanka right now. And it has been going on for quite some time. And every time they see a space, because this is a bank, these are financiers, whenever they see a space to put a motion to the court and say, now you have to force this country to pay our debt, they will do that. That doesn't mean that a former president of the country who knows all these proceedings should use that against the country to spread this propaganda. It's quite unfortunate.
So this government did not say that we are going to stick to that and
no, we have clearly said, even during the presidential election, when there were other leftist parties who clearly campaigned for an exit IMF, NPP did not do that. NPP's position was that we will have to stick to the IMF program. We have to stick to the program. That we accepted. We never said otherwise, right? But we also said there are terms in the IMF program that can be renegotiated, that we want to renegotiate.
Lakmali, just to clarify, at the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce event, the representative from the NPP said that the DSA would be renegotiated.
Yeah, true, but there's no space to renegotiate the DSA right now.
No,
and
but
we have to admit that. There's no harm in that.
Did you all find that out after the presidential election?
No, because I think these are things that I've explained this.
No, but let's explain it again for the benefit of the people who are watching today.
So the agreement with the private bondholders was concluded on the agreement in principle was reached on September 19th, if I remember it right. And this was during the silent period of the presidential election, after all the campaigning was done, after we got all the chances to speak. President Wickremesinghe, for some reason, thought with a new government coming into power within 2 days, he had to go and sign this agreement in principle with the private bond holders, right? The reality of the situation is we have very little negotiating space with any of the creditors right now. We don't want to lie to people. We don't want to tell them that, we are going to renegotiate a deal. We can do our own DSA. Of course, we have to do that. We have to be prudent and we have to do our own DSA. But the chance of renegotiating based on our own DSA is very low right now. We understand that, right? It was unfortunate that, again, the former president thought that he had the right to completely violate the mandate of the people and go and sign these agreements, right?
So, Lakmali, in terms of the pay tax, because we've had people in the caliber of Chaturang Abhisingh on the show, and he has said that it's going to be brought down to 24%, that the threshold is going to be more. What is the position of the party now on that?
So, that is still our position. That is what we are negotiating with the IMF, that we want to bring it down to the levels that we want.
But you are well aware the IMF had given the green light for the tax threshold to be
yes,
increased.
but we also come with the idea that NPP government is different from the previous governments, that we have our own policies and we have our own systems of doing it, and we have a completely 100% anti-corruption drive, and we believe that much of the expenditure in the country and revenue collection of the country is connected to issues of corruption and malpractices, and we want to uproot those things.
Anisha,
We believe, and this is a fresh mandate, and we have to understand. I think even IMF understands that what they have done with the former president, was largely, it was not popular with the people, right? So I think we have some negotiating space with the IMF, and we want to use that.
In your view, Lakmali, by eliminating or reducing the corruption, how much of money you can save and pump into the economy, and boost the economy?
At least, I think it should be at least 10% of that, because there's a lot of...
10% means how much?
10%. I have not done that. I mean,
GDP?
Not 10% of the GDP, 10% of the expenditure of the government, right? So, it's not just about, Shiraz, it's not just about how much we can save if we stop corruption, right? It's also about these entrenched practices that keep preventing this country from receiving the income that it should be receiving, right? Whether it's foreign investments, whether it's interesting grants that we can take, whether the completion of projects that we're doing right now. We are paying so much interest on projects that we got that just keeps dragging because this system is so inefficient. The state machinery is so inefficient, right? We have to make it efficient. So and we'll be saving a lot just on interest.
So, Anuradha, you had a question.
By reducing the pay from 36 to
24%.
24%, you lose a lot of income. The government is going to. So, how are you planning to collect that revenue? So is that a plan? By collecting more revenue,
yes,
is it?
By collecting more revenue and by making the revenue collection system more efficient.
So
and there's a lot of revenue that can be immediately collected. We want to collect that as a
genuine question.
Lakmali was saying so passionately about renegotiating IMF conditions.
The terms.
Yes, terms, right? So
not
now,
the framework,
now isn't there like a session going on in New York regarding renegotiating these terms,
and there was a session.
Isn't the finance minister of this country not attending that because of an election?
The finance minister of this country is the president of this country.
Right.
I think you are aware of it, right? And we also have and we also have.
Why didn't he send an agent for it?
He has sent
Maybe
his advisor.
Same reason he didn't send
the central bank governor is there.
Or
the
for
finance
the
ministry
BRICS summit
is there. Why do you think the president has to attend all these?
We didn't get membership in the BRICS
should
summit.
have definitely attended
BRICS summit at least, right?
That's a huge,
massive mistake.
That's
He
going to
didn't
be
go
the next
because there's an
global
election.
powerhouse, especially for the countries from the global south.
I think everybody, Mr. Wickremesinghe kept on saying that he wants to join BRICS, he has to join BRICS, but he never did, right?
It's a process.
Yeah,
it's not like going
the
into
current president should have gone to Russia if he wanted to join.
President Dissanayaka was invited by Russian President Vladimir Putin to attend the event, right? He received the invitation, none of the other presidents received these invitations, first of all. Second of all, we our first concern is keeping this country together. We have a very small
And winning
cabinet
election.
and the president. Yes,
No, but-
winning the
but
election is
Anuradha-
very important to keep
regarding
this country
Yogam,
together.
a quick question,
No, please,
if I
let
may.
me answer.
Yeah.
Let me answer.
Yeah. But
To be fair by them, it is important for them to win the election.
Exactly,
Yeah,
and it
so-
is important
so
for us to
that's
keep
not-
this
that's
together.
More than
We have former presidents lying on the street. We have to keep this together.
just to clarify, in any country in the world, when there is an all-important election, the president or the prime minister doesn't go out
And
of
we
the
have
country.
communicated this to
That
President
has
Putin.
happened anywhere
and
in
they
the world.
understand.
So you have to give that benefit of the doubt.
It's fine.
Then,
Foreign minister could have spared a couple of days.
we have three
and-
people
and
in the
you know,
cabinet.
these are
We
not
have
things
three
that happen
people in the
suddenly,
cabinet.
right? If they were so concerned about what's right for the country,
Yeah, but
they
I'm
shouldn't
not-
have dissolved parliament and gone for elections. When there was a
No, we are
renegotiation.
concerned about what's right for the
that
country.
means-
Quick question about Shogam.
But Anuradha, that was one of the pledges
That we made.
by Anukumar Dissanayake
Lakmali,
that
now-
he will dissolve parliament as quickly as possible.
As quickly as possible.
Yeah, so we did
but
that.
not when, like such an important thing as a
The
BRICS summit
invitation
was
to
happening.
attend BRICS came after the president was elected.
We could have
It was
attended
not
BRICS.
given to President
Yeah,
Putin.
yeah,
Negotiation
yeah.
of
So,
IMF conditions.
Samir, let me ask this question.
None of that has
About
fallen
Shogam.
apart.
Yeah,
Everything
about-
is
If I
moving
may, I
forward
just
smoothly.
need some
Yes.
clarity. Now we were talking about the Chogam, right? The diplomat who attended Chogam that was held in Samoa
Yeah,
flew all the way from the UK.
yeah, because she's an experienced diplomat.
Yes, but in Australia,
Yeah.
you had a
Equal
better
experience.
diplomat
say
there.
that, we make our-
Mrs. Chitrangani Vageshwara, who was a former foreign secretary.
I think
which
she's
was
called
just-
back right now because she was appointed
She
by the
was not a political
Wickremesinghe
appointment.
administration.
She was
No, I
a
mean, I think she's called back
decorated
right
member
now.
of
I
the
think
foreign
she's called back right
So my
now
question
because
is,
she was
this
appointed by
lady
the
in
Wickremesinghe
question, I'm sorry,
No,
Okay,
but
Keshal,
there
lady
in question.
are so many
Has-
Wickremesinghe
I'm
appointed
not in any
ones
way
that you guys have appointed as
no,
well.
no,
Even
no, I-
Gotabaya appointed
No, but
one.
I'm not
Diplomat
trying to
who-
defend Lakmali or the NP, but I must say, when there is a government in play, they can make those decisions because
should we say
based on the
Australian
based on the
one?
Fair
policy
enough.
direction
I was getting
of
to my
that-
point, but
of
this
that,
lady in question,
of that government in power. So
her
you have to
husband
give
was
them.
a staunch supporter
Now
of the
example,
JVP.
now
He's a
example,
very
you all had,
qualified
So is
Kesha,
Mrs. Vageshwara, who was a former foreign secretary.
Kesha, now take a look at take a look at.
Why do we want to send your representative to
your
Chogam? I don't
party, for
understand
example,
this.
How many people you all have had in New York? You have a strong minister's daughter in the New York mission, right? You have another opposition leader's daughter in the Australian mission. Then you had Mahinda Rajapaksa's wife's brother in one of the missions.
All of them are called back, right?
all of
I
them
don't
be
think
called
they
back.
were
All of
sent
them are called
during
back.
Mr. Wickremesinghe's tenure
He
as president.
should recall them, no?
I
He
think,
should recall them.
he didn't do
He
that.
should recall- He didn't do that.
Lakmali,
think-
I want to ask this now. IMF delegation was here soon after the election, and there were 2 days of, 2 sessions of discussion with the IMF.
There were several discussions,
Yes,
yeah.
and you said like you don't want to change the framework, but you want to change the terms and conditions, right? What did the IMF say?
IMF is willing to discuss. That is why the discussions are ongoing. They understand that this is a new government and the new government has a new fresh mandate. IMF is not, these are public institutions. This is an international public institution.
So-
they work on the principle of sovereignty.
so
they
they
have
are-
to accept that.
Yeah, we are not changing the framework, means
Yeah.
we are not changing the targets.
We are
right?
not, exactly. We are
So
not changing the
basically,
parameters of the IMF
if you
program.
reduce the payee tax, as Anuradha correctly asked, if you are going to reduce the payee tax bracket like 36 to 24% and increase the threshold from 100,000 to 200,000, that reduction of the revenue has to be captured by somewhere else,
Yeah, yeah.
right? So, that's what you say, like not changing the framework, but
Yeah.
changing the terms and conditions, right? How I could
So
do
what we are trying to do right now, because this is a new government, right? The country needs breathing space, and we are trying to negotiate with IMF to come into a middle ground with the government on what our targets are and what their targets are for the country, right? And those negotiations are ongoing. I don't want to talk too much about them because these are ongoing negotiations, right? But what you're
Who
saying
is
is true.
negotiating?
On behalf of the government, the economic advisors of the president are involved, the finance ministry officials are involved. None of these people are just NPP people.
The same officials who they pledged to take to
that's okay.
the cleaner, like to court.
Lakmali,
Right.
is
Central
the
Bank.
situation more serious than your party expected, and are you more constrained because of the situation?
I think so. I have to be honest about it. I mean, yes, we knew the country was being handled badly, but I think even we are a bit surprised by how badly it has been handled throughout the past, especially the past 2 years, I must say, right? And everything has just been, it has been almost an automatic process where the officials have taken reign, and it's a terrible situation for the country. We have gone into so many agreements with countries, with creditors, with so many other people that are not beneficial to the country, not detrimental to the country actually, right? And we have to find our way out of this very slowly, because otherwise Sri Lankan people have already suffered a lot during the past 3-4 years.
Now, Nilesh
Let me finish. I want to explain why we are doing this very smoothly, and because we don't want to burden the people. We NPP want to do structural reforms. NPP want to change the way things are done in the country, right? But not at the cost of people's convenience. We also want to make it very smooth.
I'm asking this question on the same lines. Now you're saying a process is needed, a systematic approach is needed. Nilesh asked you about Arjun Mahendran.
Yeah.
Then you said it takes time, all that and more.
No, I didn't say it takes time. I said that's one of our top priorities.
Top priorities.
Yeah.
But in the last 1 month, these 45 days that we're talking about, we saw Namal Rajapaksa being summoned to the CID. And he said that it was based on a tip-off that he was summoned to the CID. We saw, whether or not it's right or wrong, it's a different story altogether, but we saw how Johnston Fernando is now in remand custody over a vehicle.
No, he's not in remand custody.
He was released from here. He was released from there. Then Lohan Ratwata's wife is in remand custody over a vehicle matter as well. So all those things have happened in the last 45 days. Why can't you all prioritize this Arjun Mahendran's case also?
So these things, Hamid, right?
Shamir, yes.
Yeah, Shamir, sorry. Sorry, I apologize. Shamir?
No problem. No problem.
These things, I think we are getting the wrong picture here. This is not like the President Dissanayaka calling the police and asking them to do these things, right? This is what happens when you let the law enforcement authorities do their job without interfering and asking them to release this politician and that politician out of the prison. They will do their job the way they can and at their speed, right? So they have started an investigation on that, I think the assembled vehicles issue, and I think Mr. Johnston and Lohan Ratwate both are attached to that case only, right? Both of them are arrested on that case and that investigation.
Right.
So they are remanded on the investigation's purposes and on that basis. And they are given bail also on that basis.
Right. Okay. So we have a question
for you. The president or the ministers or the, the high officials are not intervening to make any of these things happen. They are just letting the process happen.
Yeah. So Anuradha spoke about these gifts given to Anukumar Dissanayaka, and you said there may be gifts given.
No, I didn't say that.
You said the air tickets and all that are supplied.
Air tickets are bought by the party members. They are not bought by Mr. Anukumar Dissanayaka's personnel. They are not gifted. They are not gifted.
Let me clarify this. The trips, the overseas.
Those are party trips.
They are party business.
Yeah, they are not his personal trips.
Right. Okay. So we saw the manner in which
waltzing off to Disney World.
Exactly.
Right. So we saw the manner in which Subramaniam Iswaran, a senior cabinet minister in Singapore's government, was sentenced to 12 months in prison in a high-profile trial that gripped the wealthy nation. Eastburn 62 pleaded guilty to accepting gifts more than $403,000 while in public office, as well as obstructing the course of justice. Any parallel?
No, definitely not. What parallel? We are opposed to that kind of practices, right? This is why the police is able to arrest people and then they are able to remand people and they are able to carry on with their jobs. We are opposed to those practices. President Anukumar Dissanayaka will not take any gifts. He hasn't even taken gifts from countries. I mean, presidents get gifts all the time. He's the only president who has kept his gifts in the presidential secretariat. right? He hasn't taken any of these things to his personal house or anything. He doesn't have personal property or private property that these people keep complaining about. I don't know what this is about, to be honest, right? And I mean, if there is any allegation that there was an allegation that he has a house in Ireland, I don't know what happened to that house now. These allegations keep popping up, but without any substantiating proof, right? So if somebody is claiming that President Dissanayake is making, having these private dealings or whatever, they have to come up
one more question.
Branded clothes that he's wearing,
What branded
are
clothes?
they gifts or are they funded by the party?
What branded clothes?
He's
Can
not
you
wearing
give me
any branded
can you
clothes.
name- I don't think so. I haven't seen him wearing branded
You
clothes.
haven't seen a lot of things.
Right, okay. Just to understand, Lakmali, state-owned enterprises privatization.
Yeah.
And now we saw how the CEB's privatization has come to a stall. You all have
Yeah.
said that restructuring is important, but privatization won't happen. So on those premises, what is the position of the party at present?
So this CEB privatization, I think this was the position that we had before the presidential campaign as well, that we will not allow energy sector to be privately controlled or privatized, that state sector controlling energy is very important for the growth of the economy and the country. So we are working on that promise
Because
only.
I saw a tweet made by Ali Sabri saying that it was a hard-won battle to privatize the CEB
For
that
them.
was taken at
It
that
was a
time.
hard-won battle for us to stop it. So I think people have given us the mandate to go forward with that.
Okay.
And we will go forward with that, right?
Okay, so I just want to wrap up. Any questions?
Yeah,
I can
mean, on that,
give one question.
on
Afresh,
that CEB, restructuring, how concerned are you on the IMF conditions? Because we have given a clear commitment to the IMF on restructuring of SOEs, right?
No. IMF is not concerned about whether the SOEs are privatized or not. IMF is only...
Restructuring.
Exactly. The restructuring will continue though.
So
CEB restructuring will
means,
continue.
wait, restructuring means you have to run it efficiently with appropriate
Profit-making.
number of people,
Yeah.
right? So you have around 22,000 people in CEB, whereas you can run it with 5,000 people. This was told by the previous minister as well. Yes, right? So how are you going to deal with that?
So I think the CEB has already made a statement saying that they will continue with the restructuring process, but that will not be in the direction of privatization. That is the position of the government, right? And IMF is not concerned about whether this is privately owned or publicly owned.
That's we understood.
Yeah. So I don't think there's a clash between the IMF and NPP. I mean, when President Anuradha Dissanayake was campaigning, he has also made it very clear that the state sector has to be efficient, and that's one of the first things that he has been trying to, sort of get running in the state sector as well. That
So
there
basically,
has to be some efficient services.
So basically, NPP is encouraging more important role for the state sector than regulatory role, is it?
Yes, in the energy sector. Yes. It's not just going to be the role of the regulator. Of course, we have been saying that, I mean, even before the presidential election, this was our position, that finance and energy has to be under state control.
But Lakmali, the experience of other countries, when the state sector plays a role in business,
No, but
it tends to fail.
No,
right?
if you look at the energy sector in UK, they are renationalizing it as we speak, because the energy sector, the privatized energy sector has failed. Energy in most of the countries is owned by the state.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So just want to understand your final thoughts. Let's start off with Keshal as to why should people elect you to Parliament on the 14th of November? Keshal, you have 3 minutes.
Yeah. Well, I think 22% of the voters voted for the program presented by Mr. Wickramasinghe. There's a 58% total opposition. Having said that, I might add that we respect the mandate given by the people and we accept Mr. Dissanayake as the president of our country. We are all Sri Lankans and we have no qualms about it. Having said that, 58%, although under different factions, have not accepted him as their leader. But that's okay. He's still the president of the country, okay? There's no doubt about it. But there is a big chunk of people who want a voice to be represented in Parliament, who want their belief systems and a proper voice to be felt so that they have representatives in Parliament. I'm contesting from Colombo purely, if I'm just speaking a little bit about myself, is I want to honor the system change that the people of this country have asked for, right? They want to end this identity-based politics. We want to move towards a citizen-based political culture where we talk about actually solving people's issues instead of giving pipe dreams, selling fairy tales without actually presenting attainable and practical solutions to people's issues. I think the reason why Mr. Wickramasinghe has not been able to win an election is simply because of the fact that he has always said what he can do. People are not used to
our theme, and we believe, and also the main base is entrepreneur state. We would like the country to run as an entrepreneur state. So whatever the policies that the government is doing to support the entrepreneur state, we will support it, where the red tapes will, where entrepreneur is backed by the government by providing they have a lot of nice projects in the NPP manifesto to support the entrepreneurs with supporting with loans and stronger banking system. So our policy is to strengthen entrepreneurs. We will support that, and our plan is to be in the opposition. We are not going to kind of form a government. We know it is very important at a time like this, to have a very strong opposition in the country, and our plan is to be that strong voice in the opposition.
Right, thank you very much, Anuradha Yahampath. Anuradha Wimalaratne, do you all also want to be in the opposition?
No, I think we are the only party in this election who is fighting for and going to make it there and form a government. The reasons would be Keshal said, yeah, people voted for you, Ranil Wickremesinghe's policies. Ranil Wickremesinghe is no longer there, and he agreed.
Still very much there.
He agreed that Ranil has not really trained anyone to take up the parliamentary. So we don't know how that will go.
In due course.
And he said he was talking about UMP beliefs and UMP ways. Do you know that only 6 UMP nominations in the 21 list?
So this is a coalition.
This
is a coalition.
15, and out of that,
my dear
no
friend,
one is
it's
going
a
to.
coalition.
Keshal, you can't interrupt in the last
If any UMP
very
votes
clear, you can
for the
finish
cylinder, it's going to be like someone else who's going to go into parliament. And if you listen to the JVP, they are admitting that
NPP,
JVP, same thing. They are admitting that things are more dire than they ever expected it to be, and then they are suggesting bring in a whole new, brand new team that is willing to learn on the go.
No.
That is not a way to run a country. Especially if the country is in a dire situation.
Have you been an MP
You can finish.
Lakmali, in your round.
Right.
I want to know.
So.
Be so brave about this.
So I have experience. I have been in the provincial council. I have been in the municipal council.
So many of our candidates also have done that.
I have come from the ground up. I have worked in the system, and I have worked allegation free for 12 years. Right? And I have served my people. I come with a history. People can check on me. People can find out who I am. People know where I live. People know what I have been doing. I don't think people in your list can say that. But so having said that, if the country is in such a dire situation, people should pick a team. Actually, I don't care from which party. They should elect people who can deliver on the promises that the president made. They can deliver on the promises that they are making in this election. Who has a bit of experience. Youngsters are superb. They should come in, educated people with a clean background. Those people should come in. So people should make the right choice, choose the right person for the right job. I'm not going to go too much after you, but former Gotabaya clan thinly veiled racism as nationalism.
I don't agree again.
But same team, new party. We'll see. People should choose the right people for the right job.
Thanks a lot, Anuradha Wimalaratne from the SJB. Lakmali.
So I think all of us are aware that Comrade Anuradha only got 42%. I think we are all aware of that, and we are very conscious of the fact there is a lot that we have to win over in the country to do that, to basically implement our programs, right? I think we should also understand that when NPP was contesting the presidential election, it was a much smaller party. It was the smallest party actually, and we were coming from a 3% base, right? And there was not a lot of visibility in the media also for the party. Certainly in certain media channels, we were not given enough space, right? And there were vicious campaigns against the party based purely on lies, right? That there'll be some level of violence, as I said, and then that there'll be an economic collapse. These were the reasons that prevented people from voting with NPP, right? And during the past 1 month, therefore, after the presidential election, we have made it our first job to make sure that all of these misconceptions are removed from people's minds, that they see us as who we are. We are not here to break the economy. There will be no violence, and we are not going to be an isolated country because NPP comes into power, right? So all of these misconceptions and prejudices that the opposition relied on during the presidential election have become useless and redundant during the parliamentary election right now. So about this case of experience and inexperience, I think what we need, what President Dissanayake needs is a team that he can work with, that he can trust, that he can work closely with to implement the program that we want a mandate for during the presidential election, right? And he's clearly asking to send people from NPP to the parliament to do their job. This country needs very close coordination and very, there has to be a lot of trust between the people who work to make this happen. Or as you said, we have seen what happened when two parties enter into the government and it doesn't end well. And we don't want to face the fate of the Yahapalna government that was basically sabotaged by both sides. right? So we don't want any of that. What we want is a team that can work together, who has the same values, who has the same principles, who believe in each other to deliver on the manifesto that we presented to the people, right? That is why we want a strong government. We do not want to have all these quibbles and party power politics and all of these things going on while we have a humongous task of developing the country and making sure that our people are safe and their well-being is protected. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lakmali Hemachandra, representing the NPP. Lakmali is in the national list of the National People's Power. Thank you very much, Anuradha Wimalaratne from the SJB. He is contesting from the Colombo district. Anuradha Yahampath from the Sarva Jana Balaya. She too is contesting from the Colombo district from the Sarva Jana Balaya, as well as Keshal Jayasinghe, New Democratic Front. He too is contesting the upcoming elections from the Colombo district. You may choose to vote for any of them at the upcoming elections should you think they are fit to lead Sri Lanka in the next 5 years. The decision is solely up to you. Thank you very much, Niresh Lithambi, Consultant Director at Newsfirst, as well as Shihar Rani, independent journalist. We are coming to you tomorrow as well because it's an election week. We'll be having a special edition of Face the Nation tomorrow, right after the news as well. Unfortunately, you will not be able to share your thoughts because it's going to be a pre-recorded show, but please do join us so you too can be a part of the discourse that is currently happening in Sri Lanka with regard to the future election, which is on the 14th of November. I will leave you tonight with a quote, as I always do. People shouldn't be afraid of their government. Governments instead should be afraid of their people. Take care and good night.